it ever steady. Setting goals is necessary while they idling. Precious time they wasting like a disease. It starts spreading. Now it shift their eyesight. I say, I don't know why. Some will worry about the next man's stride. Try to match up a next man's life. Fix your life. And as soon as I start walking on, you want to make something must be wrong, your man. I don't come here for that. All you help me. One and that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you nothing they do will never defeat me. Because you'll be your destiny. I'm telling you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Grenada. It is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning here inside this beautiful Spice Isle of Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada, where we aspire to bring you all of the facts, all of the information that is necessary for your development as a people. Of course, we want to say a special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio, and that's coming from Hillsborough, Carriacou. And of course, we have 94.9 We Noise Radio broadcasting out of Brooklyn, New York. And of course, those of you joining us on the live video, a special good morning to you as well. We encourage you to share the live, encourage your friends to watch the live, like the live, help us get that message out there. So we want to say a special good morning, of course, to two of our regulars, Miss Clytie. Good morning, Miss Clytie. And, of course, Miss Bernice up there in Richmond Hill. We want to say a special good morning to you as well. And we're going to open the lines very early this morning. Of course, we enjoy when our people can contribute to the conversation. And our local number is 440-7377. And, of course, you can send us a WhatsApp at 440-7377 as well. And if you're overseas in the diaspora and you want to give us a call, you can call us at 347-329-3101. So it's been an interesting week. We've talked about a lot of things. We've discussed a lot of things. There've been a lot of developments in the country lately. And of course, we are always here to bring you the facts as it happens. And as usual, doing my research last night, and I came across some comments. As usual, comments is a reflection of what our people know and what they understand by what's happening in our country. And I came across a few comments. Again, I just cannot understand, and maybe it'll take time for me to understand, but I can't understand why everything has to be so political. And not just political, but politically one-sided. It's just the issue with TAM-CC. Why are we still attributing that to the government? Why are we still blaming the government for something that is clearly not even their fault? And I looked at the comments, and people are saying, oh, well, the country booming. The economy is booming. So why can't they? And I want us to understand that because the economy is booming, it doesn't mean that every man, Jack, and their brother that asks for something should get it as a result of the economy booming. So, for example, it's like you're living in a family and your mother gets a salary increase. And then all of a sudden, you as a child believes that because mommy is now getting more money, she was saying before, well, we can't do this and we can't do that because, we have to budget because of monies and so on. And now you're saying because mommy gets an increase, she must just give us everything we want. So we must not put aside for development. We must not put aside for savings in the event that something happens. We must not try to improve the lives of all the other children in the home, and all of these things. So we have to take into consideration that because the economy is booming, it means now that the government is able to assist more of the people that really, really, really need the help. And I'm not saying that everybody in Grenada don't need help in it. Don't get me wrong. We all need a little help. But there are some people that just need it more than others. Some people that do not have a job. Some people that depend on these government programs to have even an iota of a comfortable life, you know? So we have to take those things into consideration. We have to be considerate of all of the people that live in Grenada and not just the few with the voices, you know? Because there's a mother somewhere in Grenada that couldn't send her child to school this morning. There is a family somewhere in Grenada that only had something small to eat that might last them the day until they figure out what they're doing this afternoon. Somewhere in Grenada, there is a family that is recycling, maybe recycling clothes for the week. Somewhere in Grenada, there is somebody with a roof that's leaking. We have to take all of these things into consideration because it is important. The development of our country is not the development of just a few. The development of our country is the development of all of the people, the improvement of the lives of all of the people within the state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So when we talk about the economy is booming, we didn't say it in the context that, well, the economy is good now, so everything all they're asking for, they'll be able to get it. That's not the context in which it is said. The economy is booming means that the country's economy is doing better, which means that the government is able to do more for the people who need it the most. They're able to provide more opportunities for our children. They're able to provide more jobs, more employment. The country is now ripe for investment. And guess what? More investment means more development. And more development means more jobs. So it's really very important for us to take these things into consideration. My heart goes out to all of the people out there who don't have a forum to speak on, to say, well, this is my current condition. So this is why I don't understand why some people can't get it. Some people don't understand that if the government decides that they're going to pay $90 million in salary increases, so just a few, it's going to affect my road work, or it's going to affect the building, the housing program that the Prime Minister has said that they're going to pump some more money into, you know. Yeah, these are things that are important to the people that are less fortunate. They're not concerned about the 25% salary increase for public workers and those things. They're not concerned about the negotiations. They're not concerned about the riot and the jumping up in the streets and the strikes and all of that. That's not their concern. Their concern is to ensure that they do their best to contribute to this country so that its development means their development as well. So we always have to take these things into consideration when we're speaking about the economy is booming. You know, we just tend to use that phrase loosely, say all sorts of things in all sorts of negative things about the government and say that they said that the economy is booming. Yes, the economy is booming. The economy is booming. We are doing better compared to how we were doing in 2008 to 2013. And in the event that y'all don't remember, you know, I don't like to remind people of this sort of negativity, but maybe we just need a little reminding as to what it was like in 2008 to 2013, right? When they say the economy is growing and the economy is booming, these are some of the things that they mean when they say that. So in 2013, when the government, this administration took over government, our economy was in the red. I even want to say red, burgundy. Red's still too bright. Burgundy is a better color, darker. Our economy was bad. We were at a negative 3%. Negative 3%. Our economy grew, sorry. I don't know where that would come from. Our economy grew 5%, which means that we've only had 2% positive growth. And that most likely has changed by now. We have our budget coming up on the 20th, Naz. That's Wednesday. We have a budget coming up on the 20th. And it's so important for us to go to these budget presentations and to listen to what's happening and what is expected as it relates to the economy of Grenada, so that we don't just go on public platforms and speak about the economy booming loosely and attribute it to some sort of negativity. It is not a negative thing. It's actually a wonderful thing that the economy is booming. You know, it's actually a wonderful thing that the economy is growing, but it is in which context it is being spoken about. You know, when we say our economy is growing, in 2018 we were known for the fastest growing economy in the OACS. In 2018, we had the fastest growing economy in the 20th, and this is on the heel of an economic crisis worldwide. You know, our Prime Minister, for all of his wisdom and the implementation and the strategies that he has used during this economic crisis, he was named the Finance Minister of the Year. So the man knows what he's doing, and it's not a bunch of Grenadians who came together and say, okay, well, we're going to give him Finance Minister of the Year because Grenada is doing well. No, this was an international accolade that was presented to him because of the great work that has been done in Grenada over that time. I mean, we have to give jacket. We have to. You know, our unemployment rate in 2013, when the administration took over government, was 40%. 40%. That was our unemployment rate. As it stands today, we are down to, I believe, about 14%. And who knows, when we listen to the budget next week, it may be less. You know, our debt to GDP ratio in 2013 was 108%. And I hope that the relevant people making these comments about the economy is booming is listening, because it is in what context it is being referred to. So our debt to GDP ratio dropped from 108% in 2013 to 61.2% in 2018. And we are yet to hear what it is now. We will hear as soon as the budget is read on Wednesday. You know, so when we're talking about, give them what they want because we are saying that the economy is booming, it is in what context? Remember, guys, the lines are open, 440-7377 for our local calls. And if you're calling from the diaspora, you can call at 347-329-3101, right? Our recurrent expenses, like electricity, water, pensions, and etc., we were paying 70 cents of every dollar. 70 cents of every dollar that the government received was going towards recurrent expenses. Now, in 2018, that moved from 70% to 70 cents to 45 cents of each dollar. I mean, come on. We have to be realistic. So when we want to complain and throw negative comments in the way of the government, these are the facts that you have to work with. You know, we want you to rebut these facts. We want you to come and tell us that these things are not true, that this didn't happen, because it did. Our economy is growing, and it continues to grow. 6 consecutive years of growth. Government is now able to pay all their claims, unpaid claims, those that they would have received in 2013. They paid all of those in 60 days. And you know why that happened? That happened because you elected a government with a vision, and not just a vision, but who believes in action. So our prime minister, in all of his wisdom, when he got into government in 2013 and he saw the state of the economy, he saw the state that the country was in and the road that we were headed, you know what he did? He went to all of our financial institutions and he presented to them a plan. He didn't go and say, Ollie, well, we can't pay Ollie because look at what's happening. He didn't go to the public servants and say, well, we come and we meet the treasury empty, so we don't know what to do. He didn't say, well, is the NDC faulting us, so they had to wait. He didn't. In all of his wisdom, he took action. He was proactive. He went to the financial institutions and he said, this is our situation and this is our plan. How can you be a part of this plan? And that is the kind of government that I would like to have represent me. I don't know about everybody else, but I am satisfied. When I sit and I look at the current state of the country, when I look at the prestige in which Grenada is being held, when I look at the development, infrastructural, educational, when I look at all of these developments, how could I not support this government? How could I not make a logical, justifiable decision to support this government? We have a first caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. I have a question and a comment I'd like to make. I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York. As a regular listener, first time caller.
Uh-huh.
My question that I would like to find out, what does the government intended to do with the Concord Bridge that goes over the river and the bridge in Woodford that is in very, very bad shape?
Okay.
I will hang up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would hang up and take my answer off the air. I'm
Okay.
calling from Brooklyn, New York. My name is Little Joe. Basically, I grew up in Concord, and I know the last time I was in Grenada, went swimming under the bridge, and it's in terrible, terrible shape. And I think it's about time that the government should start to do something about it in repairing, instead of waiting until it falls down before they do something. So I'll hang up, please, and listen to you over there.
Okay, that's a very good question, caller. And if I were to answer that question, I'd probably give you an incorrect answer because I do not have all of the details and the facts as it relates to that particular project. I don't know if the government has a plan in place or has allocated funds to the repair of that bridge, so I can't speak on it. But what I can do is I can gather the information, and most likely tomorrow, because you're a regular listener, so I'm sure that you'll be tuned in tomorrow. Tomorrow I should be able to have at least a little bit of information for you as it relates to the development or the fixing of that piece of infrastructure. So I don't have the information as it relates to the Concord Bridge right now, but I can definitely find that information for you. Some of the things that we know need fixing and these kinds of things, most of these things would probably come up in the budget on Wednesday. So even if I'm not able to provide you with that information tomorrow, most likely by Wednesday next week, we'll have an idea as to what funds are being allocated towards that constituency for that the development of that project or something along those lines. And that's why the budget is so important. It's important because it gives us an idea as to what is to come as it relates to projects, what monies are being allocated towards what in the country. So it's important for us as Grenadians to really pay attention to the budget and find out exactly what's going to happen. So, Carl, I don't have that information, but I can most definitely try my best to find out for you. All right? I hope that answer is suitable enough for you at this time. All right? But construction and tourism, right? Our retail trade sector has had significant growth in 2018. right? So for 2019, 2020, I would not doubt that all we would see is more development, more construction, more infrastructural development in our roads. Because as we speak right now, there's a plant in place. It's just for the setting up and so on of that plant for us to have that hot mix, so we can fix our roads. I mean, the Ministry of Works has been going around recently. They've been patching some holes and so on. But we know that the problem with the mix is that the cold mix, it doesn't last very long. It's not very durable. So what has happened is that they have imported, and it's only a matter of time till it's set up, that plant for them to have the hot mix. So we have a mix that is more sustainable, So a lot of things are happening, a lot of developments, and we have a lot of things to look forward to. We have more job opportunities that are coming our way. When more hoteliers invest in Grenada, then we know that, guess what? If somebody's building a hotel, more than likely they're going to need our people here, right? We have our development in education. Just recently, the minister within the Ministry of Education would have announced that they have taken 100+ students for youth, that is, for a training program within NULO, and then 70 adults over the age of 35, right? Over the age of 35, 70 persons have already been selected to do a year's course, right? That's more development for our people. And it's not just for youth. The government, yes, we consider our youth important. We consider investment in our youth important. But we also consider investment in our adult population important as well. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And have a great day. No, I am listening. I'm listening intently because I think the groundwork was done. And I'm pleased from what I'm hearing, and finally, the connection is made between tourism and agriculture. That was a language over the years that I spoke. If you want to resuscitate agriculture, you have to focus in a big way on tourism. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to this, and I believe, no, it is concrete. And this is the best thing that could happen. I think we're going to see a change from here on. Once those projects come on stream, mm-hmm. we will see the resuscitation of agriculture. In terms of the road network, I believe we have a good road network. But what I'm not satisfied with is what you call the feeder roads. And I'm not mm-hmm. talking agriculture feeder road. I'm talking about the alternate road from the main,
right.
The interior, particularly as it relates to the tourism belt. Mm-hmm. These small roads that goes down to the seasides, and that I believe some attention should be paid to.
Okay.
Where you have these roads developed. Sometimes I could neglect, especially in the dry season. Mm-hmm. Just put a rest on the main road for some time and let us go to the interior where the majority of lands are and people live.
Right.
And if you could fix these roads and bring it into a state compatible to the main road, I think mm-hmm. it's going to last a very long time because traffic there will be less. We're going to save some money there, and then we fall back on the main road. So we have both roads alternating. There, people have a chance now to go into what you call the construction of new homes and setting up of new businesses, mm-hmm. Which will actually spell very good for the economy. And those are the things I have been talking about over the years. And finally, it's connected, and I think once it's implemented, we will be in good stead.
All right.
What I want you to do mm-hmm. also is that there is a hotel on the Latant Bay that is now defunct. I think $15 million was spent constructing that hotel, mm-hmm. and it ran into trouble, and it's there where the bushes are taking over. Maybe I will challenge you to go looking at that hotel, do an assessment and make a recommendation of what to be done. Because I'm suggesting now that the government could look at this with a view to maybe bringing it back on stream. I don't know the situation that caused it to be there, to be in the state that it's in. But government could look at it, come to a conclusion that, okay, we'll have to rescue. You could put 2 restaurants there, back to back, or you bring it back into a hotel and rent it out. But however, you have to get the roads going now, because the road is bad, and the street light electricity, because there is no street light. There's current there, but there is no street light. It's a long stretch, about 1 mile, but there is no street light to get there, so it's very dark in the night. I will ask you to look at that and see what recommendation you could make. You could make to the government to have this hotel return as latent in St. David's. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Meaningful contribution to conversation. And of course, it's always important when we can make contributions like that to the development of Grenada. So it's as the caller was saying, as it relates to agriculture. I have my own reservations when it comes to agriculture, but the development of tourism is definitely going to develop our agricultural sector. But it's not going to just take us saying it. It's going to take action. You know, it's funny because you can bring the water to the horse, but you can't make it drink. You can bring all of the opportunities to revive the agricultural sector to the people. But it is up to the people to decide whether they would like to take it up or not. Because we can talk about agriculture as much as we want and the development of agriculture as much as we want. But if we have nobody that is willing to invest in agriculture, meaning you don't have people willing to work the land, you don't have people willing to put in the actual work that it takes to get to that place, then the investment would go in vain, right? So I think it's important that we not just speak about the agricultural development, but we too become a part of it. Because we have to go to a place where all of our hotels and so on in Grenada are buying the local produce from our farmers, you know. That would be a wonderful thing. That is going to, as we like to say, that is going to boom the agricultural sector. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning, miss.
Hi, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay for now.
All right.
Yes. Following up the different events as it relates to the politics in Grenada right now, there is echo that's out that the NNP government hasn't done anything as a government since they had came into office from 1995 to now. What they call anything, I don't know. What is it they're looking at to consider it to be they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But one could remember very well when the NNP came into office in 1995. The international airport might have been the only thing that stands of international standing as a country in Grenada, the international airport. The rest was just left to be ashamed of when it comes to what we consider as government infrastructure, property, or whatever you want to say. We consider the market in St. George's, in the capital of St. George, in Grenada, the market, what we had as the market, the bus, the garbage, the vendors, the flies. And it was such of a disgrace and embarrassment to our country. It takes the NNP government to recognize that is something that have to be removed and removed right away because it's of too much a disgrace. Where we happen to have what we consider to have the bus terminal right now, it was criticized, it was condemned. So much about Grenada's beach was spoken about, it will be washed away, and all kind of a Nancy story around this project. Here it is today, the bus terminals.
Yeah.
And then the development of the terminal, the port, where over 13 acres of land was reclaimed, put in the sea back and get the lands to make it, you know, much more suitable for cargoes and stuff to come in. Which means they had us to move away the cruise terminal because the cruise and the cargoes together, you know. Grenada could have been in a lot of problem, you know. because tourists could have been crushed with cargo, and we're getting millions of dollars to pay for these people and them. Sensible thinking government realized we need a cruise terminal, and it was built.
Right.
And then of international standard, people, it is highly recommended, recognized around the world. Grenada Cruise Terminal. Matter of fact, we won 2 hours successive. When NDC was in office, Peter David was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was the one receiving awards for Grenada, and that in regards to the cruise terminal. So if a government wasn't doing anything, how all these things come to achieve?
Yeah.
And we're speaking about the road here because remember when NDC came into office, the road was in the most critical state you could think about.
Yeah.
Doncat was even refusing to pass in certain roads. Today, it become highway. And you have to look at what the road really creates. You know. The road creates employment, you know. It creates development. You know. Buses all over the routes of Grenada now. You know. Would people had us to walk to go home? Buses dropping them in front of they don't know. You know.
Yeah.
People seeing it fit to buy a bus and employ a bus driver and a conductor. You know. So employment created at one time. Someone seeing it fit to open a business in the community. The salesman could come in and sell, and the person that opened the business could employ somebody to sell in the business.
Yeah.
So you have to look at all the things that is happening. When you're speaking about they didn't do anything. You know, I mean, come on, you could condemn, you could criticize, but you have to be constructive. You just can't do it in the way they are doing it and expect someone who look at them as constructive and sensible people and you take a chance and put them again to say they will run the affairs of this country. Yeah. I mean, they're not doing anything for somebody to consider them in that light at all. You know, there's so much you could speak about that. I want to be very short, so you have a good morning, madam.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller.
Good.
I just received some information regarding that bridge in Concord. To the caller who would have called from the diaspora earlier, the bridge apparently is brand new. So that bridge that you're speaking about has been reconstructed. So maybe what we can do is we can get some pictures and post it up on our site, HARDTALK, so you can actually have a look at the reconstructed bridge in Concord. All right? So I hope you were listening to get that answer. But there's so much happening. And as I was saying earlier, in the agricultural sector, it takes all of us. It's not the government, because the government can make the situation right. It can make the atmosphere and the environment right for agricultural development. But if there is nobody willing to take the chance, if there's nobody willing to take the opportunities that the government is making available for the improvement of the agricultural sector, then the investments are just there laid to waste. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, love design.
Good morning, Miss Jacob.
How you do, sweetheart?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Oh, God, that beautiful brother that just speak there. Oh, my God, he speak handsome.
He did.
I could tell you that. Because where I stay now, if we had to go to town, we had to go all up in the crossroad for bus because we couldn't pass on the bottom road because you know where they call close rock? It's to tell you how close the rock was. Joining together, you know. It's thanks of the government, NMP government, Mr. Danny Williams. Or Daniel Williams, that was the minister, and give us a lot of road. Well, don't talk about the buses and them in the market. The buses in the market, the vendors in the market, the selling jacks in the market, everything pack up in the market, you know. Bus. Well, don't talk about the car where they paying the electricity now. When you come out under the tunnel, you just go there and you bathe and then you put on your clothes if you want to do that. Because some people, I see some people bathing on the ground there, no, the beach.
Wow.
Yes. Already like electricity paying there, already the ship coming in there. By that little shot man, that little wonderful, beautiful, handsome Prime Minister do a lot for Grenada, you know. He take it over from his father. His father do something too. Well, the how they call him again? The one that come to do the airport. Uncle Gary that get the land, the land for the airport. Uncle Gary, no. Uncle Gary that thing the land for the airport because down there was a salt pan. And my father, a good bit of us go down there and take salt. You know when my salt finished? The time of the revolution, not the hurricane. Ivan, I had it in a tin, and I didn't remember. And water with it, and he melted out, I had also throw it. It's quite in Ivan, you know, is to tell you. Oh, that salt, the salt nicely hard. And when you hear you have a day and you think, you put it there in the sun hot. You take it out from where you have it because the sun go melt it. And girl, that wonderful Prime Minister, he do a good bit for Grenada. And I saw him as he had a wonderful time yesterday, girl.
He probably did. He probably did.
Yeah, boy. I just don't talk to him, mommy. Mommy said he and she son had a wonderful day.
And he deserves to because he has devoted so much of his life into ensuring that Grenada is at an international standard. I mean, we're not there yet, which is why he continues to work so hard. But we are getting there. We are even closer than we were before. So he definitely deserves to just enjoy the day.
And then look on the other side. Me doesn't say opposition. The best opposition we had in Grenada from the time of Gary to come right up, the best opposition we had. You remember when he lose to the NMP 11-4, when he get the 4 seat? We could have thrown them out since they had about 2 years, but Jack said no. Let them make the thing for themselves. And the own minister, if they open parliament, we show them out before they reach 4. We not show them out till they had 3 years. Just imagine they closed down parliament for all the time. What?
Yeah, because I mean, you have to when you sit in government and do nothing for your people, and you have an angry population that is most likely going to try and kick you out of parliament because you are non-performing, then that's the only method you can use.
That was not that. That is so sweet. He was not that. The Honorable Dr. Mitchell is so nice. He was not that. He let them do the mess for themselves. Well, now they're coming in if they say they go win this election coming. I wonder if he has land to sell, but you have to be careful. They may sell us too. He have more land for it to sell.
Let's check up your knees, you know.
Oh, God. So, darling, you take care of your dear self, your wonderful self. Hey, your friends and them in Canada say, oh, God, Miss Jacob, you sure that lady is not, you sure that lady belongs to Grenada. I said, she's a born Grenadian. She
born and bred,
way.
Yes.
They say they like to hear her speak.
All right, tell them I said hi and thank you.
Go hi when you think. You say, Canadian ladies and them, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
I will do that. I will do that.
So, okay, sweetheart, God bless you, and I love you, sweetheart.
You too, and enjoy your day, Miss Jacob.
You too, darling.
All right.
Okay, all right, bye-bye.
Now, I was just sitting here, and I was doing some research, and because we have the budget coming up, and I think a lot of us don't understand what the purpose of our budget is. Why do we need a budget in Grenada? Why do we go in Parliament at the end of every year and present a budget, present figures and facts on what we have done and what we are planning to do as a country and as a government, right? But the budget is really an avenue where the government can ensure the country's economic growth, right? So in the budget, the government will make provisions to increase or decrease It's never a case of decrease, but increase budgetary spending and promote areas where they can save, right? And of course, it aims to allocate the country's economic growth to things like agriculture and development programs for our young people and programs to help uplift the lives of the people of the country who are unable to do it on their own, right? So a lot of these things are reasons as to why it is that the government needs to have a budget. So that is why it's so important for us as Grenadians to tune in on Wednesday and listen to our budget, listen to where the government has spent its money, what monies is being allocated to what sector, and these sorts of things. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hi, yeah, this is Little Joe. I'm calling back from Brooklyn, New York. I think you have it wrong with the bridge that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I am talking about the main road bridge, not the bridge that goes up to the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
The main road bridge has not been fixed or anything has been done on it. It's the bridge that goes up to the Concord waterfall.
Okay.
Is the one that's been repaired.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about now. Maybe it wasn't clear enough before. So I'll try to find out that information for you, okay?
Please do so. Thank you very much.
All right, great. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we have our budget coming up on Wednesday, and we want to encourage everybody to take an opportunity. It seems like the lines are getting busy. Good morning, caller. Oh, we seem to have lost that caller, right? The government, of course, has to calibrate its budgetary policy, right? Of course, depending on the economic conditions. So they would make decisions on things like if there is inflation, if the government will come out with a surplus policy, basically, to say, okay, well, there's a growth or an increase in a certain area, right? And of course, if there's deflation, the government will look at ways that it can improve the people's spending power, right? So of course, it's a balance. It's a balance that helps with the economic stability. We have a call on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning. Oh no, we seem to have lost that caller. The other day I was having a conversation with someone and they were saying that the government needs to invest in building the private sector. And I completely and totally agree. Because if our private sector is at a higher standard, it means that there is more opportunity for employment, more opportunity for investment, more opportunity for economic growth in the country from our private sector. Because remember, our public sector is already filled to capacity. It may be able to take a few more based on who retires, based on what programs the government puts in place, based on needs and so on. But it is at capacity. And we need to be real about this thing. The government is not going to be able to hire everybody in the public sector. We have to understand that, and we have to appreciate that. We need to build a private sector. We need to build our entrepreneurship so that we are able to help build the economy from that end. So more of our people get employed in private companies, or more of our people become owners of private companies. And that is why the government has spent so much money, right, in the development of small business, right? Hundreds of people so far in 2018 have received financial support to start small businesses. They may not go on public forums or public platforms and say, well, the government helped me to start my business, and, or they may not come out and say, well, 50 of us, the government helped us to start our business. But it's happening. It's there. We can see it all around us. The lives of our peoples have been improving. It has been improving. We have monthly payments now going out to our citizens on the SEED program, right? That's people who really need the help, and they can't do it for themselves. We have the elderly pension for the people who are a little bit over the age of working and need a little bit of assistance from the government or from the state. So much is happening. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Okay. Now I'm calling concerning the what's going on with government and the duty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I honestly believe that there are some Grenadians that they really don't like this country, and I think a lot of them they have a lot of hate in the heart for the Prime Minister. Number one, I don't know how they sleep at night because I'm saying that to say that Mr. Lewis came out and said that the union they are contented, meaning that they are satisfied a
Mm-hmm.
little with what government is offering them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking on social media and even listening to some of the calling programs, and there are people who start now bashing Mr. Lewis for coming out and make such statements. And people there are even those who saying that he's been bribed and they want to know how much money the Prime Minister give him to come out and make such statements and stuff. And these are the same people that before they were asking the union to strike, they were asking everybody
Yeah.
to strike and strike and strike and strike. And now, something good is come up for them. Now they're going against the union.
Yeah.
So you could see that, a lot of them, they just don't want to see nothing good for this country. They don't want to see nothing. They just want to see us cussing and fighting each other. You understand? Because I can understand how such a good statement made by, the GUT president, which the teachers and everyone should be happy,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And there are people out there now saying that, the union, they took bribe from the government and all this kind of thing. And them, I mean, it really hurt my heart sometimes, to see, to read such statements by some people and stuff. It seems like a lot of people, they just don't want to see nothing good for this country. That's my point this morning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, caller, for such a powerful contribution. It was a matter that I did look at, and I didn't want to speak too much on it because a final decision is yet to be made, based on the talk in the atmosphere, and what the GUT president has outrightly said, that they are satisfied. They are happy with what the government has given. I see no problem in that. I see no problem in that. I think the caller is absolutely right. And it is an atmosphere that we must begin to condemn. This issue of not being able to air your views unless it is in support of the party that you support is a horrible, horrible, horrible practice. You should be able to air your views based on fact, based on what you see is best for Grenada. Mr. Lewis, he made a statement based on what he saw was best for his workers. How is that a bad thing? Why must he be bashed for something like that? We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Caller, good morning. Hello, good morning, caller. Oh no, we seem to have lost that call. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Miss
Oh,
Duncan.
good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, Miss Duncan. There are some people in this country, they want nothing good happen to the own people that they living around. They only care about themselves. In 2008 to 2013, nothing was given to the workers of Carriacou and Pitamati. The government now offering whatsoever they said to offer, and the teacher accepted. Is better. Nothing is better. Something is better than nothing, right? And you see, there's people that only care about chaos, and they want to see chaos and difficulties taking place in our country. But the union they look at the union, but they look at the entire the people of Greater Carriacou and Pitamati, and they said to themselves, well, yes, we go settle for whatever the government agree. And this is a good suggestion. This is something good that the union is doing. But you see, when people have the hate, they can see. Already could see chaos and one chaos in the country and hate. But the union, they're on the right track. We get care and they love people because they only care about themselves. Because sometimes you could give a man something and then other people don't get nothing. And then when you look around your neighbor suffering. But when you have something, you see that your neighbor have something to eat, you feel happy.
Yeah.
But if you only have and neighbor don't have, right? How could you feel happy when you have other people around you suffering, they can't get up? So I always when you're negotiating good faith, that other people, you will not put people to suffer because of what you want. Always care and reach out and love people to see that you need and other people need. Don't want to see that you need.
Yeah.
So I want to say to the union, the union and teachers, yes, what you do is right because you care and you love other people. You want to care and love the client that you're looking after.
Yeah.
So we can kind of help out with the
You too. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. So Mr. Lewis did something that was great. He must be commended because he went to the table to negotiate on behalf of his teachers. And maybe he went with, in his mind and in his heart, everybody else in Grenada on his mind, just as the government negotiating team had to do. When they negotiate, they don't just negotiate based on public service and what they need. They base on the needs of they negotiate based on the needs of the country. You know, the seasonal workers, the unemployed people, the elderly, the children on scholarship, the children in schools, the people who need housing facilities. All of these things are what the government would have in the back of their minds when they go to negotiate. So maybe Mr. Lewis would have had all of these things as well, or would have considered at least some of these things when he negotiated, and he made a decision that was right for his people. He made a decision that was justifiable. He made a decision that was sustainable. So why is he now being bashed? And I did see a post. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but I did see and he had to defend himself and say that this was not an NNP post. I mean, at the end of it, but he didn't even have to do that. He must be able, as a Grenadian citizen, as the leadership of the union, he must be able to make a decision based on what he thinks is best for not just the teachers or not just the people that he represents, but he must also make a decision based on what's best for the country. Because if the decision that he takes is not sustainable, then he would also know that if anything were to happen as it relates to this government, any government that comes into office must be able to maintain the decision that was made. And we definitely know from track record 2008 to 2013 that is not a possibility with the other political party. We know that, right? Because we know that in 2008, they didn't get an increase. They much less didn't get their salary on time. They had to wait until the middle of the following month to get the previous the previous month's salary. We know all of these things. This is not a hearsay or guesswork. This is fact. So he made a decision that he thought was best for his people. Right? He made a decision that was best for his people. And as I'm being told, it's finally official. The agreement has been signed. They have now had a signed agreement between government and the Grenadian Union of Teachers for an increase in their salary in the upcoming cycle. And they negotiated for the 3-year cycle. And I'm hoping that I'm able to get all of the details as it relates to that negotiation to tell you what the percentages are and so on. I don't want to go based on guessing, right? I have an idea, but I want to be sure, right? So if somebody can send me that information, that would be wonderful as to what exactly they have agreed upon, And this is wonderful news. The teachers can now smile because they would have received a signed agreement for their increments, their salary increases. And it was look how easy and simple this thing happened between the Grenadian Union of Teachers and the government negotiating team. Look how simple that was. Because they both went in with a steady head. They had no political agendas. They were not out for blood. They went in with justifiable terms as to what the government can afford and what the teachers will accept. And they have reached an agreement. And that is how negotiations must be. I'm not saying it's not going to be hard sometimes, but we must be realistic. And we must take into consideration the needs of all of the people of Grenada. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sister Duncan. Good morning. And when you get up and you start your program, make sure the lines are open, not only in Grenada, but in the diaspora.
Absolutely.
Make sure that, because the people outside here don't get angry when they call and they can't get you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, always make sure that.
Yes.
Yeah. As you talk, speaking about the union, it's not really the president of the union, you know. Because, you see, when you're negotiating, Sister Duncan, I don't know if you know that, because you're young, you're smart, you're bright, supposed to be an intelligent young lady, the way you speak. But the union come to the government to the union. They negotiate. If the union and the government does not satisfy, or the union does not satisfy, you have to go back to the people.
Yes.
Like the teachers, the head of the teachers union, he have to go back and talk to the teachers.
Yeah.
And say, okay, they're giving 3%. We're going to vote on that 3%. I'm not satisfied with the 3% as the president, but it's you are the people who have to receive that money.
Yes.
Do you accept 3%? They'll say, no, we accept 4%.
Right.
Then he has to go back to the government now and say 4.5. He wouldn't say 4. Because you have to leave a little room to maneuver.
Exactly.
So he'll go back and say 4.5.
Yeah.
The government say, well, I'll give 4.
Yeah.
He say, well, I'll get back to you. So they get the 4 they want. You understand?
Yeah.
So he go back to them again and talk and say, look, they give the 4, but I'm looking for 4.5. They say, okay, but 4.5 is the cutoff. We already get what we want. But 4.5 is the cutoff. So you go back to them and say, look, meet me halfway. Meet me at 4.5. Go and think about it. 0.5 percentage, okay, that's not too bad. We settle at that.
Right.
Then he go back to them and say, well, we get what we want.
Yeah.
We get a little 0.5% more. Case closed. But when you say 25, and I say, I give you, over the last cycle, I give you 10, I give you 2 or 3 or 2 or 4, whatever. So I could double that. From 2, I could give you 4. And you say, no, I don't want 4.
Yeah.
You mean? I want 8.
Yeah.
I want 6. The government say, well, I can't give you that. If I give you that, I will go overboard. I'm going to get the country going to drown. So the other 2 unions, Tau and the other one, they have to go back to the people.
Yeah.
They must go back to the people and have a meeting, and then the people they're going to vote on it because they are the one to receive the salary.
Exactly.
Not the union's leaders. You only negotiating on behalf of them.
Yeah.
But what is going on in Grenada, it doesn't work like that, Sister Duncan. Those guys dictating because they're playing politics.
Playing politics, you're right.
But you see, the head of the teachers union, he come to his senses. He realized he made an error the first time for the teachers. You see what he done now? If he had done that before, if he had only done that before when there was negotiations with the other type of thing they have in courts now, it had been a different outcome.
Yeah.
So you see, he stopped letting people think for him and listen to the people who have to benefit most.
That's correct.
And that's how he come to a proper decision right now.
Yeah.
You see the difference? So we're waiting now, tomorrow, when they're having a meeting with the other 2 unions, you understand what I mean? To see what they're going to come up with. Because they realize the Grenadian people are fed up.
Yeah.
Because you don't negotiate like that. You never negotiate like that. You're playing politics.
Of course.
And we played that in the 70s, and we come back, sadly, to come back and play it now in the 20th century. It does not work. It's chaos. You get everybody angry because a few just trying to push the knob. Politics, and nothing about the people. Because we want to get into power. So we anything we go think, we push it out because Dr. Mitchell, we just don't want him.
Yeah.
And soon I get out of office, we all turn back and say, you know, Dr. Mitchell was the best man ever run Grenada? I tell him, you're going to remember this guy from Canada said that.
Yeah.
The minute time he gets out of office,
Mm-hmm.
because somehow he handbugging them.
Yeah.
But look around, Sister Duncan. See if you could find another leader in Grenada at this time. Look around. Look around. Dr. Mitchell is at 100%, and everybody's under 50%. Have a good day.
Such an eloquent delivery. Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution. You know, and he's absolutely right. I don't even need to add to what he just said. He just put it all together so well. So I'm happy. Mr. Lewis, on behalf of us here at the New National Party, congratulations. You know, that's what we need. We need forward-thinking leadership who looks at the issue holistically and logically and not with a political blind. All right? We're not peeping through any political lens to make decisions that benefit the people of Grenada. You know? Mr. Lewis probably sit down one night and say, Lord, in 2008 we could have barely get a salary, you know. Let me negotiate in good faith, so at least our people can benefit. You know? We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Good morning.
And a special good morning to your listening audience. Now, Miss Duncan, well, the issue with TAMCC, I am very clear on what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
But let me cut to the chase. Miss Duncan, the proof is in the pudding, like my grandparents and my mother used to say. Now, let us look at it from that standpoint. Roads, water, and electricity. Which government we should give that credit to? Let's be honest. I'm not calling no name. Let's be honest here. Who should we give credit to for providing the most low-income housing to our people? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Who provided the most employment for our people? Brothers and sisters, straightforward question. Education. Which government provided the most scholarships for our young folks in this country?
Yeah.
The economy. Which government provided the most consistent growth for our economy in this country? Which government pay our bills and time in this country? And we're going back. We're not talking about now. Bridges. Which government built the most bridges for our people in this country?
Yeah.
Which government provided the most benefits to public servants in this country? Ask yourself this question.
Yeah.
And don't be fooled with the answers. Which government repaired the most schools in Grenada? Which government provided the most assistance to upcoming young entrepreneurs in this country? Ask yourself this question.
Yeah.
Which government made the most teachers prominent in this country? And I must say, during a restructuring IMF program, this government.
Yeah.
Which government built the cruise ship terminal in this country? Based on vision, a visionary government. This one. Which government built the St. George's bus terminal? Being visionary. This government. Which government built the ministerial complex? You understand? Making sure that government don't have to pay millions of dollars every month, you know, to private persons by renting the property. Yeah. This government. Which government negotiated the funds to build the Grenville bus terminal, the Grenville market, and the abattoir in Maribo? Yeah. This government. Which government do the most for sports and culture in this country? This government. Which government upgrade and light the most sporting fields in this country? This government. Miss Duncan, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
That's why they say, talk is cheap. You could talk, but when it comes to pointing out what was done, who did it, everything falls with this government. So much so that some people that had lands that would have sold for pennies, today, as a result of this government, there is electricity, there is water, and there is roads going to these areas.
Yeah.
So the same piece of land that you would have sold for $15,000 or $20,000, all of a sudden today, that same piece of property, if they offer you $60,000 for it, you're telling them, you better go and come back, because what you're dealing with proper things, no japper things. Miss Duncan, I thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is a wonderful, wonderful representation of what this government has done. So for those of you out there listening who are of the opinion that this government has not done anything, there you have it. And that's just, that didn't even touch the surface of the things that this government has achieved for its people, And we keep thinking that it's the government. What is the duty of the government? Has anybody really asked themselves that question? Have we really asked ourselves, what is the duty of our government? Our government's duty is to protect the lives and property of the people of the state of Grenada, right? To ensure that we enjoy the life, or the right to life, and the right to our own use of properties. That's the job of our government. That's one of the many jobs of our government, right? The promotion of economic development. That is the main role and function of the government, to promote economic development, to pursue good fiscal and monetary policies. I hope you're listening, to pursue good fiscal and monetary policies. In other words, to make policies that help manage the money that comes into the state, or that the state makes, and the distribution of that money. I hope y'all are listening. I hope that y'all are listening, because we are of the opinion that it's the 15 representatives' job to mine us for the rest of their lives until they finish in government. And it is not. Their job and their duty is to make the life of the Grenadian people better by creating a good economic atmosphere where everyone can thrive, by creating policies and opportunities that benefit the people of the state of Grenada, where we can all grow and prosper together, not some prospering and some still fighting up, where we can all grow and prosper together. We may not prosper all at the same time or at the same level, but we must all have a comfortable life. And that is the role and the responsibility of a government, an administration, to ensure that there are employment opportunities. I hope you all heard that. Employment opportunities. Not to provide employment, to create jobs in the public service and say, oh, you come and get a job. But to create opportunities for employment. They should provide an enabling environment for the citizens so that they are able to make a source of a livelihood. And that is what is most important for us to understand. An enabling environment, an environment where jobs can be created. where we can make a source of livelihood, where we can create our own jobs. Right? So we all have to take these things into consideration. Everybody in Grenada wants to live comfortable. Everybody in Grenada wants a piece of the pie. We all deserve a piece of the pie because we have all made a contribution towards the development of this country. So that's a question that you need to ask yourself. What really is the duty of the government? Not just in Grenada, but governments worldwide. What is their duty? What exactly do you expect from the government? And is your expectation realistic? Is your expectation something that is sustainable? Is your expectation something that is selfish? Meaning that you ain't care about nobody else in Grenada. Everybody else can do their own thing. You just care about your development and the development of your little corner. And while you must aspire to become better, right? While you must aspire for better living, while we agree with all of that, you must also remember that while you are making all of these aspirations, if the country suffers as a result of it, then your growth is nothing. Those aspirations become nothing. Because you will be growing in a country that is failing. And evidently, you may either need to move out of the country, or you're going to be in a place where your growth means nothing. Somebody posted a question. I'd like to know if every time there is an issue for money, we have to strike. What are we telling our children? I'll answer that question after we take this call. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning to you once again.
Good morning.
I want to compliment you and commend you at the same time. This is what I will call radio language. You are not only preaching, but you are teaching. You have raised the bar. This is the language that I always like to hear. That's what I call balance. In other words, you pointed to exactly the ills and the correction of the ills. And I hope not only me, because I listen to radio a lot, and sometimes I go on radios, but you have to talk this down to your rank and file supporters, because I could tell you have little problems there as they advocate outside. Some of them are not seeing it this way. But that is the only way we all should see it. The only way we should see it. Yeah. And again, I complimenting you for that. I don't know how much of us going to do this. Your previous caller, or your last caller, I understand he is a security advisor on the hospital. I would want to graduate him to hold a portfolio in the Prime Minister's Ministry as an advisor.
It's very eloquent, isn't he?
I listen to him a lot. And I'll tell you, yes. And he says he used to be another place. and now he's utilizing what he had then, now. And I also compliment him for that. Ma'am, the problem we have, a big problem we have, is the private sector. I always say the private sector is the first government and governance. And the government is the second, and the system, the second governance. The area where we have to make the economy for the second governance and government to manage, there is a problem. I talk from time to time, and I beg even these people, the private sector people, don't sit and wait on the government to give you a business. We're waiting on the government to do a project to give you a business instead of you creating a project for the government to get revenue.
Yeah.
It's growth we're talking about, not management. If you're talking about growth, and if you can grow the economy, government will have the finances, because that's all government wants, you know. Government is not supposed to be in employment except, well, the people in government, the civil service. That's the only people that should employ. Yeah. That should be 5%. And 95% should be taken over by the private sector. So they have to grow their businesses to claim the 9%, to cause government 95% to become the 5%. And that will give us a change, a very big shift. So
Yes.
that said, the economy is going to grow enormously. And that's what we all want. Imagine a foreigner have to come to Grenada here to purchase a piece of property, hundreds of acres of land, for $150,000. When we have local people in here who could just take that out from the pocket and buy that same property and take some of the money to create projects, and some of these projects are beach properties that you own. You just not promote it, but lambasting governments over the years to create things for you when you have the things to create the revenue for you and yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm saying to this and I want them to take my advice here. If you fail to expand your business as it relates to creating new jobs and revenue and waiting on those outside people to come and buy the land here to create the jobs that you should create, you, private sector folks outside there, will lose your business because they will own the businesses not making money for you, and then you will eventually go home to knit buttons. So I'm saying to the private sector people, expand your businesses rapidly to stay afloat, or else the economy might be doing well and you doing bad. I said on another challenge. The beaches we have, a lot of the bays we have in the East Coast, we're going to be resuscitating that. We are attempting that now. But I'm saying to the business people, I'm making a call to them again. Please, the various companies, motorcar companies and other big companies, take a beach, clean it up, and use it as a marketing tool where you could post up your billboard and to attract the same people that you want to come here to buy the land, which is the tourists, to be able to sell back to them from the beach. So if every one of these businesses take a beach, and do what is right, maybe they might have to put a road or ask the government to put a road on that particular beach, and they should take the beach and manage it for their purpose and the purpose of the country. If they will do that, there will leave very little room for the foreign people to come here to take advantage of us and them. And then we definitely will have a better economy. And then we'll have a government now who has the ability, because of the finances, to be able to manage the economy in a way that we want. So I hope they're listening, because I've been saying that over the years. And I see certain things creep in where such businesses was closed by these businesses that is coming in here. Because when they come in here, they don't come here for you, they come for them. They come in, and if you can't battle with them, you have to close. But that is a way of damaging the economy too, because they will not be catering in over time for us, but for them. So I call it what? The what you call the cultural takeover. I ain't call it cultural penetration. I say the cultural takeover, because it's a new group of people that will be managing for themselves and not the people they meet here. It's a complicated thing, but I'm trying to give an insight into what is happening. I hope they're listening, and Grenadians listen. Let us come together, help each other, to develop each other, lest we are the ones that are going to suffer here.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. Absolutely right. We need to spend more time investing in our private sector so that it can grow and it can create the employment opportunities that we need for our people. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Hello. All right, caller, you're listening to the background. I need you to listen to the phone because, of course, there's going to be a delay in the radio as opposed to when you listen to me on the phone. So try calling back, but listen to me from the phone and not from the radio. All right? So in the question we were addressing earlier, I'd like to know if every time there's an issue with money, we have a strike, what are we telling our children? Well, that's a very simple question to answer. We are teaching our children that in the face of adversity, they must become rebellious. That is what we are teaching our children. We are teaching our children that in the face of adversity, they must be rebellious. We're not teaching them good problem-solving tools and tips. We are teaching them that if they don't get their way, if they jump up and scream and make enough noise, they might just get it. That's what we're teaching our children. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, how do you do?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, not too bad. Yes, and I just want to applaud you and commend you. And I thought I just could not leave the program end without I myself making my small contribution. After listening to the two previous callers, especially both of them, but especially the last one, because sometimes he call on different radio programs, and I think he has a lot to offer, but sometimes I challenge him on some of the things that he would have said. Well, you would always find that back and forth, we would challenge each other on statements we might have made or, proposals we might have made and so on. But I want to say that the two last callers, the callers, everybody would have contributed significantly to this program this morning. And I really love the way you, as a young person, handles this program. And your balance, as one of the previous callers would have said, and so on. And your knowledge of what you are speaking about. Because, I often say, and I say it to my children, I say it to my whole often, because I have quite a number of children, and they are young people. Some of them now are looking for a job and what have you and so on. But I always don't blame it on government, just solely on government or somebody else. And I always thought that we ourselves, and especially young people, as I say to them, that you have to create your own space at times and your own opportunities, right? Yeah. And government, of course, has the responsibility to provide the enabling conditions and so on. But too often we depend on government for everything. Yeah. Sometimes we speak of government as a separate entity that has all the resources and has to provide all the needs of our people. Of course, that is part of the government's responsibility. Yeah. But failing to understand that what we are demanding, what we are asking for, we are the ones who should be prepared to pay for those things, because a lot of the times we ask for a lot of things and we are not prepared to contribute not 1 cent. Yeah. So we could only get those things by our own taxes that we will be asked to pay, or through loans or grants or other technical cooperation with other countries and so on and so forth. But in respect to the government negotiations with the Public Workers Union and TAU and the GOT, and I look back at these negotiations over time, not now, not just at this cycle, but over a period of time. And sometimes I question whose interests do the leadership, right, have at heart, right? And in respect to this, because if you are a leader, right, if you are a leader, you have to have a certain level of understanding, and we have to be real and realistic. So you have a situation where you are negotiating, and of course, for us to arrive at any meaningful conclusion to any negotiations, both sides or the parties to the negotiation must go there with a spirit of cooperation and and honesty, right? In good faith. In other words, you have to be negotiating in good faith. Yes. And of course, the government of the day is the government for everybody. So the government is going to put its card on the table. The union leadership is going to put the card on the table on behalf, I should hope, on behalf of the workers. But we must take into consideration the ability of the government to pay. Yeah. To be making unrealistic demands, that would not be helpful. That cannot be making sense, because you could demand as much as you might want to demand, but it's the state's ability to pay. Yeah. And who do we expect to pay? It's we or our people, because sometimes we believe that, or we give the impression that the money should be coming from the politician's pocket, and that we should put pressure because I don't like Kip Mitchell and his administration, or I don't like some other members of the team or some of the government. We have to stop that. We have to discontinue this. Yeah. And I believe that the leaders that do that, especially the trade union leaders, they are misleading the people. They are misguiding the people. We have to be real here, right? And we have to understand what is happening, because we cannot make demands because the demands have to be met by us. Yeah. By us, by the own people. So even though we get loans or we get grants, we don't have to pay back. Even though we get loans, whatever, we'll have to pay back that in the future. But let's be real. So those who go about bashing the leadership of the Grenada Union of Teachers, and in particular its president or the person who headed the negotiations of government, including union leaders. I mean, it's so sad. It's very, very sad. You know, clearly, in my opinion, they are showing the political position, the partisan thing.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the duty president, Mr. Lewis, would have met with his workers, with the group that he supports, and they would have taken into consideration the proposal and what is available and the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I just do not understand it. Everything we try to put our words between it, you know, is this thing. Grenada is for all of us. There is one pie available, and there are those who believe that pie, there are people should not be entitled to. We will not share the same proportion, right? And we will get different proportion of that pie.
Of course.
You know, but everybody should be entitled.
Yeah.
And sometimes I want to hear one group or the leadership of one group saying that the money that you're spending on the e-money or the increase that you would have given to the sick people or to the social public assistance, you should have given to us and so on. It makes me wonder. You know, it makes me wonder. You know, and so on. I just want to stop here for today.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. So I've just gotten, of course, some more information as it relates to the agreement that was signed between the Union of Teachers and the government negotiating team. So what has been agreed upon, a 3-year cycle that runs from 2020, 2021, 2022, and they have agreed to 4% in 2020, 4% in 2022, 2021, and 4% in 2022. So congratulations to the teachers on coming to an agreement on the increase that you should receive based on what is sustainable, based on what the country can afford, and that will benefit all of the people of the country. And the caller before was absolutely right. In negotiations, and I've said this before, in negotiations, it is the unions are the employee. The public servants and the teachers and so on, they are the employer. They must say, this is what we want you to do. Because we are the beneficiaries. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Am I live, yeah?
Yes, you are live.
Yeah.
Caller, good morning.
I didn't get the chance to call, but I just wanted to... Is an
Oh, no, it seems like we're having a bit of difficulty hearing you, caller. Can you try calling back?
After it, but I don't know.
No, we're having a difficult time hearing you, caller. So if you're hearing us, could you try calling back? I think maybe it's how the phone is pressed against your face. It's pressing the numbers. So we're getting our beeps. So try calling us back. But the caller before was absolutely right. The unions are the employees. You, the people or the representative that the unions represent, you are the employer. You are the ones to vote and say, yes, we agree. But if you are politically driven, then the decision is going to be less logical. It's going to be harder to make because, of course, you have a political ulterior motive, which is to bring down this administration. But when you bring this administration down, you're bringing yourself down in the process because the government is you. You are the government. You are part of that same system that you are trying to hinder and to destroy. So when you do that, you are hurting yourself as well. It's a perfect example of shooting yourself in the foot. You know? So they would have, I'm sure, gone back to their teachers and said to them, this is what the government has offered. This is the reason why we think it's a good offer. They've provided them with logical, justifiable reasons. and they are now at an agreement. That's the kind of news that we like to hear. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Morning.
Yeah, yesterday I heard you were saying on your program, you were mentioning that Dr. Mitchell was an economist. But I'm not sure. I feel you should explain that more to the public. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, I'm not quite sure how you want me to answer that question. He's an economist. He deals in matters of, the man has a PhD in mathematics. What else do you want to know apart from that? He's an economist. I'm not sure how you want me to answer that question, right? But it's I don't understand sometimes us as a people. I don't know if that was meant to be a blow to Dr. Mitchell or what it was meant to be, but we cannot deny, it's undeniable, that he has made some of the best economic decisions for our country. That is undeniable. That is undisputable. He is the reason that our country is so economically stable. His plans, his foresight, of course, with the cooperation and the assistance of all of the financial partners within Grenada who have decided, or who decided with him in 2013, that they would be a part of the process to help grow Grenada. That's the reason why we are in such a good state. We don't want to go back from that. You know, we don't want to fall back into a place where we have to struggle to meet the basic needs of the country and the basic needs of the people of the country. You know, we are such a peaceful country simply because, and this was said in August in Carnival in one of our interviews, that Grenada is such a peaceful country because the people are satisfied and that their basic needs are being met. And while that might not be true for all of the people of Grenada, the majority of us can say that we are satisfied. Does satisfaction mean that we are going to settle for what we have and not aspire for more? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that. We must always aspire for more. But when we do that, we must take into consideration that we do not live on an island by ourselves. Whatever we do, whatever decisions we make, impact the length and breadth of this island. The length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. That is why I will always be an advocate for ensuring that the information reaches all of the people, that the truthful, factual information reaches all of the people, so that when we have conversations, we can have educated, factual conversations, so that when we speak about things and when we make decisions, it's informed decisions based on the fact and not based on emotional, political biasness. We have to be so careful because we have the world looking at us. We want to ensure that when the diaspora, when the international community looks at Grenada, they continue to say, this is a place that I want to invest my money. This is a place where I see economic growth, economic stability. This is a place where my investment will be appreciated, will be valued, would be worth something. That's what we want the international community to say about us. Because if they're saying that and they're investing in our people, then this means that there's more growth for our people. There's more stability for our country and our economy. That our children would inherit a wealthy country. These are the things that we should want and aspire to have as Grenadians. So when we hear all these talks about strike and the government do good and all of this nonsense, remember, we are not the only ones listening. There are people out there looking and listening to what we're saying. And they are saying that if the people of Grenada do not appreciate the things that are being offered to them and created for them in their own country, why must I invest my hard-earned money in them? That's not what we want. We want continued growth. We want continued development. We want continued investment in our people. That's the kind of thing that we want. At least that's what I want for Grenada. So we must ask ourselves the important question. What do you want for the country that you live in? The place that you have inherited, the place that your ancestors have passed on to you, and the place that you plan to pass on to your people, your children. What do you want? These are the kind of questions we need to ask ourselves. Do we want to go backward? Do we want to fulfill our selfish desires politically because we want power? Or do we want continued growth? Do we want continued development? We must be at a place where no matter what political party comes into government, they must live by our means and our standards, which is for betterment of the whole of Grenada, the length and breadth of Grenada, and not just a privileged few. So the $6 million that the government is going to bleed into the housing program, the 600 plus houses that are being built, and more to come, the considerable investment in the development of education for our children and education for our adults, the continued growth and development of our healthcare sector, which has a long way to go. Right? We have to think about all of these things. What do we want for ourselves as stakeholders in the state of Grenada? Guys, we are out of time. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time talking with you. In whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. I want to be talking with you and not about you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
The new national party, NNP St. Andrews Southwest Youth Arm, presents its annual themed cocktail and gala. It's 90s style. Annual themed cocktail and gala. It's 90s style. That's right, we're going back in time. Back in time. Saturday, November 30th, 2019. Going down at the Twilight Nightclub, Grenville. Cocktail starts from 7 p.m. until you say when. Watch it. Tickets cost only $15. Finger foods included. With music by Grenada's top DJs. Alongside live performances. Lots of dope prizes for the best dressed male, best dressed female, best dressed couple, and many more. The NNP St. Andrews Southwest Utah 90s style cocktail and gala. Saturday, November 30th.
Government says it's not responsible for increment payments to TAMCC workers. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, November 12th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Government is not responsible for paying increments to workers at the T.A. Marisho Community College. Minister with responsibility for tertiary education, the Honorable Pamela Moses, made the announcement during Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing. Workers at the college are engaged in industrial action demanding $6.1 million in increments for the period 2014 to 2018. Minister Moses says TAMCC is a statutory body which functions independently. She says Act 41 of 1996 governs the functioning of the college, and according to Section 7 of the Act, the institution should be managed by the College Council. Government provides an annual subvention of $14 million to the College Council as one of its three main sources of income, the other two being tuition and grants.
The government is not responsible for paying the increment as demanded by the union representatives, and as such, the present impasse is really between the council and the workers that are employed by the council. Now, who are the workers at the college? The college basically has two categories of workers, and they are represented by two different unions. The first category of worker that I would share with you about are the Public Service Commission workers, or PSC workers as they are called. The second category is the College Council workers.
Minister Moses further explains that government only bears responsibility for 35 workers at the college. They are employed with the Public Service Commission and have been seconded to the college.
These workers are represented by the Grenada Union of Teachers and so have been benefiting from all the government negotiations, and of course there's more to come. Our minister here would share more with you. The second category of workers at TAMCC form the majority of the workers at the college. They are the council workers who are employed by the College Council, and as such, their increments, their salary increase, and their pensions are paid for by College Council, not government. The council is therefore responsible for paying the accumulated increment, which is $6.1 million for the years 2014 to 2018. And the total amount of workers under the council who were employed by the College Council total 243 permanent workers.
Cabinet suggested that the council submit a plan on its course of action to resolve the impasse.
Cabinet has therefore requested that the College Council submit a plan to Cabinet detailing how it will pay that $6.1 million of increment for the years 2014 to 2018 to the 243 permanent council workers. Thus far, the council has selected a sub-finance committee to meet on this matter, and then later this week, the council will meet with the union in an attempt to resolve the issue.
Government is confident of a settlement in negotiations with the Grenada Union of Teachers. The government negotiating team and the GUT have been negotiating wage increases for teachers for the period 2020 to 2022. Teachers and other public officers benefited from a 10% increase in the current cycle, 3% in 2017, 3% in 2018, and 4% in 2019. Head of the GNT, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, said government is pleased with the way negotiations are progressing with the GUT and remains confident that an agreement will be signed soon.
Talks are proceeding smoothly. We are confident that we will soon reach a settlement given the significant movement by both sides. Negotiations cover the period 2020, 2021, 2022. And we have at the stage with the GUT where we think before the end of this week, we can conclude the negotiation and sign an agreement because of the cordial way in which the negotiation took place and the willingness of the union's negotiators to reach a settlement with government, understanding the fiscal rules that I explained in the beginning.
Minister Joseph emphasized the importance of considering the fiscal space and government's spending power. He says government's decision must be realistic and feasible.
In considering how much the award should be for public sector workers union, that must be taken into consideration. So of the total fiscal space, how much will be allocated for increases? Because within that space, you have to find money to do all the other programs, all the other social programs. The seed program, the debushing program, the housing program, the same school repair must come from that total amount. And therefore the approach to this negotiation, we said, must be fact-based, based on facts and on the evidence. And so we started negotiation. The Public Workers Union and the Technical and Allied Workers Union, who have less than 100 members in the public service, came jointly to the negotiation. And at the third round of negotiation, there was no movement by either party, and therefore the negotiation was declared deadlock.
Minister Joseph also reiterated to members of the media on Tuesday that an agreement needs to be reached before the 2020 budget is presented in Parliament on November 20. Meanwhile, the Labour Commissioner is expected to meet with representatives of the GNT and the Technical and Allied Workers Union and the Public Workers Union on Thursday in an attempt to resolve the current deadlock in negotiations between the parties. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Did you join the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and have since retired? This might be important to you. Government understands that the NIS pension may be insufficient to take care of your needs. So, while it awaits the court's ruling on the matter of pension for public officers, government has taken action to protect your quality of life so that you can take care of your needs in the meantime. Persons who joined the public service on or after February 22nd, 1985 and serve continuously in an established position for a minimum 26 years and 8 months and retired at age 60 may be eligible to receive an advance payment, which when combined with NIS represents 70% of their last salary. For more information, call or visit the Pension Secretariat in the Department of Public Administration, Ministerial Complex, 440-3767.
Continuing the news, the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, Public Utilities, Energy, Transport and Implementation says the area in the St. George's Market known as Jamrock will be demolished this weekend. The ministry says the demolition on Sunday, 17th November, has become necessary to ensure stability and order for the smooth operation of the market in accordance with Section 15B of the Planning and Development Control Act of 2016. Vendors who will be misplaced as a direct result of the demolition were assigned booths in the market. In that connection, vending license agreements were signed on November 12, 2019, and the keys for the identified booths were handed over on November 12 as well. The ministry has arranged connection of utility services, that is water and electricity, with Nawasa and Grenlec to facilitate the full operation of the booths for the comfort of the misplaced vendors. The connection cost cost is being borne by the ministry as a form of support for the project. The ministry says it will continue to work with stakeholders to ensure that management of the market is in keeping with the relevant laws and the approved conservation design for the town of St. George. In a separate development, the ministry says Asphalt Crews will conduct a test demonstration with TLA Premium Cold Mix Asphalt at True Blue Road commencing at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 13, in the area close to Bananas Restaurant and Sports Bar. It says this product is environmentally friendly and can be applied even when the road surface is wet. Asphalt Crews will be on site from 10 a.m. to prepare the area. And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
The new national body, NNP St. Andrews Southwest Youth Arm, presents its annual themed cocktail and gala. It's 90s style. That's right, we're going back in time. Back in time. Saturday, November 30th, 2019. Going down at the Twilight Nightclub, Grenada. Cocktail starts from 7 p.m. until you say when. Watch it. You can dig up. Tickets cost only $15. Finger foods included. With Music Boy, Grenada's top DJs, alongside live performances. Lots of dope prizes for the best dressed male, best dressed female, best dressed couple, and many more. The NNP St. Andrews Southwest Youth Arm 90s style cocktail and gala. Saturday, November 30th.